Hello, I'm Kristen with the Queen Anne's County Library, and I'm bringing you today's Cooking with Kristen lesson, which is going to be Earl Grey cupcakes with some vanilla frosting. The first thing we need to do is actually going to be to boil our milk and then steep our tea. So you're going to want to start with 3/4 of a cup of milk, and then just put that into a small pan. And then you're going to want to put this on your stove top and at medium, and just wait for it to boil. And then once it starts to boil, you're going to want to take it off of the heat and then add 4 of your Earl Grey tea bags to it, cover it with the lid, and then let it steep for about 30 minutes. So I'm just going to let that work right now, and then we'll get back to making the actual cupcakes once we have our steeped tea in our milk. And we're back. I have my steeped milk right here. As you can see, it kind of boiled down to about 1/2 cup now. And you can also see it has the brownish tinge from the tea. I've started to preheat my oven to 350. And so let's get started making the actual cupcakes. We're going to first start with 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick, and then we're going to mix it in with 1 cup of sugar. And then our sugar, put that to the side. And then you just want to mix everything until it's nice and creamy. I let my butter sit out so it's nice and soft, which always helps with this process. Okay, my sugar and butter have creamed nicely, so now we're going to add the eggs 1 at a time. And I've also let these sit out a little bit so they are room temperature, which always helps. Just mix the first one in. Okay, mix the second one in. Okay, the 2 eggs have been mixed in, so now we're going to start working with our dry ingredients. I have 2 cups of flour in here, and I'm going to add in 3/4 of a teaspoon of the baking powder. Okay, do that first. There's enough in here. There's the baking powder, and then I want 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to do the best I can. Hopefully not. There we go. And I'm just going to mix everything together. And then I'm going to start by adding some of this in the bowl, and then I'm going to add some milk and then switch back and forth. Add some of the milk. The rest of the flour mixture. Put it all in. Okay, and then just adding the rest of the milk in. Okay, everything is mixed in together, so now the next thing is to put it into our cupcake trays here, and I have them already lined. So just get that ready. And so you're going to want to fill these up about 2/3 of the way with the cupcake mix. So once you have your cupcake liners all filled up with the cupcake mixture, it usually does about a dozen of the cupcakes, and you just want to put them in your oven for about 25 minutes. Of course, you want to check with a toothpick just to make sure that it is cooked all the way through before you take them out. So I'm just going to put these in, and then we'll get back to you once I pull them out, and then we're gonna wanna make some frosting. Okay, so my cupcakes turned out very well. I'm just gonna let them cool down. I'll leave them in the cupcake pans for a few minutes, then take them out and just put them on the cooling racks. And then once they're cooled off, we're gonna make the frosting. So just wait a second and we will be there. My cupcakes have cooled, so now we're gonna move on to the frosting part of this. And we're just gonna make some basic vanilla frosting, which is great for more than just these cupcakes. So what we're gonna need for this recipe is half a stick butter, a quarter cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then 4 1/4 cups of powdered sugar. And so first I'm gonna start with putting the butter in the bowl. And you're just gonna wanna make sure your butter has softened to kind of room temperature just to make it easier to mix. And I'm gonna start with, usually I do 2 1/4 cups first, and then I mix in the other 2 cups after I've started the process. And then then we just need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then our milk. And we're just gonna mix this all together. And then we'll add the rest of the sugar. Okay, I'm gonna add the other 2 cups of sugar now. You can see this is pretty quick and easy. And I always prefer homemade frosting to the ones that you can get at the store too. Okay, have some good looking frosting there. And this is where you can, if you want to change the color, just add some food coloring to it, just a couple dots, and just to mix whatever color you want. But I'm gonna leave mine just plain white. And then I'm just gonna take my cupcakes, and using a knife, I'm just gonna spread some of the frosting on. Usually just do kind of a circular motion. I know there's fancier ways of doing this, but this works for me. So kind of use your preferred method for frosting a cupcake. And just like that. And then you'll want to put the frosting on all the cupcakes that you have. My cupcakes are all frosted, and I'm happy with how they look. You can add sprinkles or sparkles or something, whatever that you would like to add, or you can just leave them plain like this. So I first had Earl Grey cupcakes from the Primrose Bakery about 10 years ago when I went to London with a friend of mine, and thought they were great. I also joke that this is how I managed to marry my husband, because he is a huge fan of these cupcakes and asks for them every year for his birthday and every time in between. So I actually got the recipe from this book, which we have at the library. It's called Cupcakes from the Primrose Bakery. So it has both the Earl Grey cupcake recipe and the frosting recipe in it. It's also where I get my favorite lemon cake recipe for my birthday too. So you may want to check this out and see what you think. Hopefully you'll enjoy making these, and we'll cook again later. Thanks. Bye.